Good morning, I'm Laura. Welcome to my homestead garden. Today I want to show you what I'm picking and what I'm going to make with it. So we are in these 2 rows and we're picking a bunch of green beans here. They're bush beans, and we're picking cucumbers. I have cucumbers all along this trellis. And so what we're going to make with these is dill beans from these and dill pickles. So an easy 6-ingredient recipe. Everything's from the garden. I have my dill growing over there. See all these beans? Aren't they nice? Look how long those are. Those are great, eh? So when Ed and I first got married, my husband Ed and I, we've been married 13 years now. We lived with his mom and dad for a while, and she taught me how to can things. So this is her recipe. She sells so many dill pickles at her farm stand at her house. So I use the same recipe I'll show you for dill pickles for green beans. The same thing, do it the same exact way, except instead of a cucumber in your jar, you have a bean. Okay, so I'm finally done that double row of beans. Yeah, so I got a 5-gallon pail full. Ed already picked the other row for me this morning and got 5 gallons. So 10 gallons of beans we have to do today. So I'm gonna bring these in and then we'll pick some cucumbers too. Cucumbers, they always look like, oh, there's no cucumbers on here. But you start moving leaves around and that's how you find them. They love to hide on you. So you really have to search good. Yeah, so you can see I have it growing up the trellis here. I don't like using quite this big for my dill pickles, but if I have a lot this big, I'll just slice them for using on like burgers or something. I kind of want more smaller size like this for your cucumbers. But obviously whatever you have access to is great. So I think we're gonna get a lot of these today. I haven't picked in about 2 days, so there's a lot on here. Okay, so we're done picking these cucumbers. I actually got way more than I thought. A lot of them are pretty big though, which I'm sure my boys will be happy about. They just chow these things down when they're huge. But I think most of them we will use, probably just slice them up and have them as like a sliced dill pickle, put on sandwiches, hamburgers, and stuff like that. Thanks. So I have a bunch of garlic here from the garden that was pulled a few weeks ago. So I'm gonna bring it in and get it cleaned up. I'm gonna save the biggest ones that I have. Like there's some nice big ones like this. And these are the ones that I wanna save for seed for growing next year that I'll plant later this fall. So I'm just gonna grab my tiniest little ones and bring them in, and we will prep a whole bunch so that they're just ready to go in a bowl and we don't have to worry about like peeling this and everything. We'll already have it done, so. Awesome. So Kate's gonna work on scrubbing these for me. The cucumbers, English cucumbers you get from the store are not the same as these pickling cucumbers. So on all these little dots, there is pokies. If you don't scrub these pokies off, when you bite on your dill pickle, there'll be like grit in your mouth. It's like, it's dirty, but it's just from those pokey things. So definitely make sure you scrub them off. So we are well into the afternoon now, and I'm cooking supper, so I'm just going to sort through my green beans and keep the ones I want that are nice and straight and long for my dill beans, and then I'll get the kids to cut up the rest of them for canning. Ones like this are fairly straight and long, and they're a little bit fatter than others. And so those are the ones that I want for my dill beans. Yeah, so like really curved ones like this, they don't go in your jar really nice, so I won't use those. We'll just can them up. So So like this one would have gotten missed while we were picking. And so if you open it up, you'll actually see like the pods. So if you just let that grow, it would go to seed and you could plant the seeds next year. So these ones I will literally just take out and give to my chickens. The chickens will eat them. And I'm not gonna have time to do my dill pickles or dill beans today. So I will see you again tomorrow. So I'm going to make a few jars of a spicy dill bean. So I'm just coming out here to the garden real quick before we get started inside. And we're gonna pick some jalapenos that I have growing. And under here, the little jalapenos are hiding. So I'm just gonna pick everything I see so that I can do however many jars I can of these spicy ones. That's a good size one. So it looks like we got 8. So we'll be able to do 8 jars of that. Okay, so and then we need to get all of our dill picked. I'll show you guys what we're gonna pick for the dill. So we want some tops, like these tops that are flowering here. So you can just pull that top off. So in each jar, I like to put 1 top. So lower down, there's these leaves. So I'll put 2 of those leaves in each jar. So like this whole thing, 2 of these. So we're gonna make our brine now and get that heating up before we get our jars and stuff ready. So I'm gonna start by adding 3 quarts of water. Next, I'm going to add, this is just normal, plain old white vinegar. I'm gonna add 1 quart of that. Now I'm showing you guys just the base recipe. So it says this is good for like 35 pickling cucumbers. Not sure how many jars it would make, it doesn't say. So I'm showing you guys the base recipe, but I'm gonna be like, I wanna fill this pot up, so I'll just add more after. This is pickling salt. I just have it in this Mylar bag so that it wouldn't collect moisture on me and go hard. I'm gonna put 1 cup of pickling salt in. Okay, so literally that's it. So your brine is just 3 ingredients, 3 quarts of water, 1 quart vinegar, 1 cup of salt. Very easy. So I'm just gonna do a bunch more of that until my pot is full, and then we'll put it on the stove to boil. Turn that on high, and then we will stir it every once in a while just to make sure that that salt isn't just all settled on the bottom. So for our jars, this is how Ed's mom taught me how to make pickles. I had a friend come over the other day to drop something off, and she's seen all my pickles, and I was making salsa and stuff, and she's seen it all there on the counter, and she's like, wow, I didn't know you were a rebel canner. And I was like, well, neither did I. I'd never really thought about it before, but I guess how I do pickles, there's a little bit of rebellion in there, because I will not water bath can these. You're welcome to do that if you want to. Just follow the recipe, but then water bath them after. For myself, I'm not gonna bother, and I'll show you why after with the beans. So I'm just reusing old pickle jars, which is another rebel-y thing to do, I guess. Yeah, but the lids will just keep sealing for so long until they get damaged or rusty or whatever. So you can just keep reusing jars like this. So I have this pan, there's a bit of water in it, like 2 inches. So we're gonna get that boiling. These jars go upside down in the water, and the steam and everything is what is gonna sanitize these. So you wanna make sure this water is boiling, and then you can time your jars for 10 minutes and you know they're sanitized. So I'll just keep taking hot jars out of here when I'm doing the pickles and putting cold ones in and kind of rotating them around so that I'm getting the hottest jar when I pull them out. So I'll show you the jars of green beans, why I don't want to water bath can them. Okay, so I'll show you this. So this jar is a jar of beans that I water bath canned because I was like, well, I want to follow the rules and do things safely. Yeah, but it's not good. You can, I don't know if you can tell, but the beans are like wrinkly. They're not as crunchy as they should be. Now this jar is a jar I didn't water bath can. It's perfectly sealed. See, I can hold it up by the lid there. Yeah, but they're not wrinkly. They're super nice and crunchy. So that's why I'm not water bath canning my beans or my pickles. I want crunchy dill pickles. So our brine is finally started to boil. So I'm gonna take the lid off, kind of just get this ready here. Turn it down now, and then I can grab one of these hot jars. I literally just use a cloth. I find that's the easiest thing to protect your hands because it's a very hot piping jar. I'll put a cold one back into this to get it sanitizing. I'm gonna pass this hot jar to Dylan. So I'm gonna lay it on its side so it's easy for him to pack. And he's gonna slice up a clove of garlic. So we'll probably use like these 2 smaller cloves in one jar. And he's gonna put the dill in there, and we'll put the cucumbers, and then we can put the brine in. So 2 of those sprigs of dill and then 1 head. And then we're gonna pack our cucumbers in. So I'm gonna get some of these larger cucumbers for the bottom. And I'm just gonna try to put in literally as many as will fit in here. So I'll put those are all bigger. And then we'll grab some of these smaller ones and fill in the rest of the space here. Dylan has literally been doing this with me since he was like 1. I put the dill and the garlic in first because you don't want the garlic or dill floating to the top and ruining your seal on the jar. Scoop out some of that. We're gonna fill this literally as full as we can make it. So literally right up. I don't leave the normal 1/2 inch or whatever headspace. I fill it right to the top because it's just vinegar and salt. Okay, so you can see that's right up there. We're gonna grab a lid. So this is our lid, and we'll just get that on there, hand tight, and that lid, the top of it will like poof up, and then once it cools down and is sealed, that will decompress there. So yeah, our jar looks great. Looks nice, right? So now we just need to do like 50 more. So we did 6 jars of just your regular dill pickle. Now for these bigger size ones that got more overgrown in the garden, yeah, we're just gonna slice them so that you can just throw them on a hamburger or a sandwich or something without having to cut up your dill pickles. They'll already be pre-cut. So I'm just holding the pickle literally together as I slice down. Yeah, so then we have like our dill pickles still kind of together here. It's just sliced up, and then we'll just put that whole thing in the jar like that. And then we'll fill this guy up. So now we're going to do our jars of dill beans. So I'm using those tall salsa jars. You could just use a quart jar if you want. The one thing I have a problem with my dill beans is my beans are so long. They're so nice. My hand? Yeah, so they're too tall actually to fit in my jar. So I have to cut just the ends off. So I cut off both of the ends to make them short enough to fit, and then we'll use these ends, the kids will eat them. So then that goes like that. And I like to stack my jars with it crooked like this so that they're kind of laying down on top of each other. See, I cut that much off and we're still to the top here. So we'll fill that jar up, put our brine in just like the pickles. So to make this a spicy dill bean, you could just do it like this with the brine. To make it spicy, we're gonna take one of our jalapenos and then we're just going to slice it. So we'll put the whole thing in. I'm just gonna put 4 slices down so that the brine can penetrate this easier. And then I'm gonna shove that whole thing in my jar. So this one is a spicy dill bean. They're like a nice spicy, I find. Not too overwhelming. Some of my kids will eat them, some won't. They just kind of add a nice element to the bean. Yeah, so literally the same thing. Our brine is in there, lid's on, and you can see our jalapeno in there. Okay, so we are done. That huge load of dill pickles and dill beans that we had to do. So we got 6 jars of just your whole dill pickle, 5 jars of these sliced ones, and I did 8 of these dill beans. 1 is not spicy and the rest, the 7 are spicy. I put a jalapeno in there. Okay, so that's it. Tomorrow I am going to make sure all of these have sealed properly and then I can store them for our winter use. I hope you guys liked this video and learned something new and maybe got inspired to do a little bit of pickling yourself. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.